Welcome to tonight's episode. I invite you to settle into a place of comfort, letting the weight of the day slip gently away as you prepare to embark on a journey through imagination and emotion. Tonight, I will share with you an original tale entitled The River That Only Flows at Night. This is a story woven from the delicate threads of quiet journeys, unspoken farewells, and the mysterious ways in which time can guide us, sometimes softly, sometimes unexpectedly, through the landscapes of memory and the gentle currents of healing. Picture a river unlike any other. Its waters shimmer with a subtle, ethereal glow, visible only when the sun has set and the world is hushed under the velvet canopy of night. Along its banks, silent fields stretch out beneath a sky sprinkled with stars, and the air is filled with the soft sounds of nocturnal life, crickets singing, leaves rustling, and the distant call of an owl. As you drift downstream, you may notice how the river's surface reflects not just the moonlight, but also your own quiet thoughts, hopes, and the whispers of bygone days. This bedtime story invites you to surrender to the gentle pull of the current, to let your mind wander along with the flowing water. Here, in this tranquil realm, every ripple carries echoes of journeys taken and goodbyes softly spoken, each bend in the river offering a chance for reflection, understanding, and emotional grace. With each passing moment, you are gently carried forward, sometimes revisiting cherished memories, sometimes leaving behind what no longer serves you, moving ever closer to a place of peace and renewal. So, as you listen, allow yourself to be drawn into this serene landscape, to float alongside your own reflections and dreams. Let the glowing water guide you through the night, and trust that the river will carry you tenderly and patiently toward the healing dawn. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Moon's River. The evening air was thick with the scent of damp earth and fading sunlight, wrapping Bram in a familiar embrace. Silver moonlight spilled across the valley, casting a gentle glow over the dry bed of Sleepwalk Stream. The landscape was silent. No rush of water, no movement, only stillness, as if the place had long kept its secrets. Bram, his silver hair catching the moon's glow, moved slowly along the riverbank, his footsteps soft on the cool, dusty ground. He paused, eyes fixed on a small shape nestled in the dust. A weathered wooden boat, aged by time but still warm to the touch. It sat there as if waiting for him, an unexpected gift amid the emptiness. The boat's planks were rough but cared for. The wood beneath his fingertips was smooth, whispering stories of days long past. He knelt, running a hand along its side, feeling the faint ridges and slight warping that revealed decades of sun and rain. Memories flooded him, laughter echoing from childhood adventures by the river, Sam's voice calling him to play, shared dreams whispered in the dark. He saw their youthful face, bright with hope, hands clasped as they imagined futures filled with endless possibility. The boat seemed to hum with these memories, carrying the echoes of their laughter and unspoken promises of simpler times. Bram's gaze lingered on the boat, a gentle smile touching his lips. The valley's stillness felt thick with nostalgia, as if the very air was holding its breath, waiting for him to choose. In that quiet moment he sensed a gentle pull, an invitation from the past, beckoning him to remember, to reconnect, perhaps to find a piece of himself long lost. The humble boat seemed to carry the weight of all those years, patiently awaiting him to step inside and see where the current might carry him next. As the sun sank lower, casting long golden shadows, Bram felt the air grow thick with anticipation. The scent of damp earth and dried leaves filled his nostrils, grounding him in the evening's quiet stillness. The full moon rose slowly, spilling silver light over Sleepwalk Stream, transforming the dust-covered riverbed into a shimmering ribbon of luminescence. Bram's silver-streaked hair caught the glow, his eyes, deep with unspoken sorrow, lingering on the familiar landscape. Amidst the silence, a soft, whispering sound broke through. The gentle trickle of water, delicate yet persistent. It was as if the river had awakened from a long slumber, calling to him in a voice only he could hear. Bram's heart quickened, stirred by a mixture of trepidation and hope. He paused, listening as the sound grew clearer and more insistent. "Could it be?" he murmured softly, barely more than a breath. The thought sent a shiver down his spine. The water's faint murmur echoed through the hollow chambers of his memory, awakening feelings long buried, longing, regret, a flicker of hope he thought had faded. The moonlight reflected off the dried bed, casting a silvery path that beckoned him forward, inviting him to follow where the water might lead. Standing still, Bram traced the faint outline of the stream's old course. Sensing this was more than just a trick of the night, it felt like a summons, a gentle reminder of the life he once knew, the laughter shared with his brother Sam, the dreams whispered under starlit skies. The sound of water, fragile yet persistent, seemed to hum a lullaby, one promising renewal and reconciliation, if only he dared to listen. With each passing moment, the call grew stronger, pulling him toward the unknown. The night air cooled further, and the moon's silver glow cast a shimmering sheen over the dust and stones beneath his feet. Bram took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years settle into the stillness. Was this the moment he had been waiting for all his life? With cautious resolve, Bram stepped into the boat, feeling the worn wood beneath his fingertips, smooth from years of gentle use, yet sturdy enough to hold memories. The air around him grew still, thick with anticipation, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Without oars or sails, the boat responded to an unseen force, drifting effortlessly into the darkness. The river's returning waters shimmered softly, casting iridescent light that danced across the surface like liquid memory. Bram watched in awe as the currents wrapped around him, warm and inviting, like an embrace from a long-lost friend. He whispered softly, almost to himself, "It's just me and you now." Feeling the words settled deep within. The boat moved silently, gliding along a path that seemed to know exactly where it was going. The riverbanks reflected scenes from his past, faint images of childhood laughter, the silhouette of Sam's face in moments of joy, shadows of regret lingering in his mind. Each ripple carried his thoughts downstream, as if the water was carrying away unspoken words and long-held sorrows. As the glow grew brighter, Bram's heart felt both tender and heavy. He watched the water swirl around the boat, shimmering with memories, some bright with happiness, others dark with pain. The river was alive, a living tapestry of his life's moments, pulling him deeper into a journey of healing and reconciliation. In that quiet, surreal space, Bram allowed himself to be carried forward, trusting that the currents of the river would guide him to whatever awaited on the other side. Chapter 2. Echoes of the Present. The boat drifted softly along the shimmering water, its glow casting a gentle silver light that danced with each ripple. Bram leaned back slightly, feeling the cool night air brush against his face as his gaze fixed on the banks that shimmered like a mirage. Scenes from his childhood emerged along the water's edge, fleeting images illuminated by the moonlight. He saw his dog, Max, bounding joyfully through tall reeds, his tail wagging wildly as he chased a fluttering butterfly. Max's golden fur and sparkling eyes radiated innocence and boundless energy. A soft smile touched Bram's lips as memories flooded him. Days when Max was his loyal companion, always by his side, eager for adventure. He could almost hear the gentle panting and cheerful yelps that once filled those quiet afternoons long ago. Further along, the scene shifted to his mother's kitchen window. She was there, singing softly as she washed dishes, her hands moving rhythmically, her face warm and gentle. The scent of baking bread and her melodic hum filled his mind. She hummed a lullaby from her childhood, her eyes shining with love that seemed to embrace everything around her. Bram saw her smiling at him through the glass, a picture of comfort and home, her presence a steady anchor in his life. As the boat continued its silent journey, he was transported to family gatherings, laughter spilling into the air like sunlight. He saw himself as a boy, sitting on the grass with cousins and siblings, sharing stories and snacks. The carefree joy of those moments was etched into his memory. Rustling leaves and distant crickets created a peaceful symphony that wrapped around him, enveloping him in warmth and nostalgia. Each scene was vivid, almost tangible, as if painted in the air just for him. The water's glow seemed to amplify these memories, making them shimmer with a soft, golden hue. Bram closed his eyes briefly, letting the warmth of those joyful times wash over him, a stark contrast to the stillness of the dark, silent river. It felt as if the river was holding these precious moments, preserving them in its gentle flow, waiting to be remembered. The river's glow deepened, shifting from a gentle shimmer to a richer, more introspective hue. It seemed to carry the weight of Bram's unspoken feelings, memories buried beneath layers of time and silence. The peaceful radiance now reflected darker corners of his heart, stirring a quiet unease he couldn't dismiss. Suddenly, vivid images re-emerged along the banks, scenes from a life long past, moments that had shaped him deeply. He saw Max, a scruffy terrier, bounding joyfully through the reeds, tail wagging as if nothing could touch him. Bram's lips curled into a soft smile as he remembered those carefree days, how Max had been his loyal companion, always waiting at the door, eager for adventure. The memory was so clear he could almost feel Max's rough fur beneath his fingertips and hear his joyful bark echoing through the countryside. The scene shifted to his mother at the kitchen window. She was singing softly, her voice blending with the rustling leaves outside. Her hands moved with practiced ease, stirring a pot or hanging laundry, simple chores radiating warmth and love. Bram saw her gentle, caring smile, as if she knew exactly what her boy needed to feel safe. The tenderness of her singing filled him with a bittersweet ache, a longing for those simpler, happier days. As the boat drifted further, the scene transformed into a lively gathering, family and friends in the yard, laughter spilling into the night. Children's voices chased each other around tables, faces lit with innocence and joy. The scent of baked bread and fresh fruit mingled with the clinking of glasses and cheerful chatter. Bram's heart swelled with a warmth he hadn't realized he'd been missing. These moments made life feel rich and full, even as they faded into memory. Each scene was vivid, like a tapestry woven with threads of happiness and love. The water's glow cradled these memories, holding them safe in its gentle embrace. Yet amid the warmth, a quiet shadow lingered, a reminder that time moves forward, and those days, as precious as they are, can never be reclaimed. Still, in this surreal journey, Bram felt a tender reassurance. These memories, no matter how distant, still shaped him and belonged to him. He could hold them without pain, simply as part of his story. As the boat rounded the bend, the river's glow deepened into a warm amber hue that seemed to seep into Bram's bones. The shimmering water reflected not only the moon above, but also the darker corners of his heart, stirring long-buried memories. The scene's serenity made his breath catch, an almost imperceptible hitch, as he was suddenly confronted with shadows from his past. He saw it clearly now, the last time he and Sam had spoken before that stormy night. Their words had been sharp, hurried, filled with frustration and unspoken fears. Bram remembered the harsh tone in his own voice, how his words cut through the cool evening air. He saw Sam's tense, hurt face as they parted in the yard, an unspoken ache lingering like a storm cloud overhead. That night, dark clouds gathered, and the wind carried a distant rumble, foreshadowing chaos to come. The visions played in slow motion, Bram's regret gnawing at him as he watched himself, angry and defensive, and Sam trying to hold back tears with shoulders heavy with sorrow. The memory haunted him, like a ghost he couldn't shake. He could almost hear their voices, the harsh words filling the space where love and understanding once dwelled. Then, the scene shifted. Bram saw himself standing in the doorway of their childhood home on the night Sam disappeared. His chest tightened with fear as he recalled the emptiness that grew when Sam was missing, an ache that deepened with each passing day. The following years felt like a vast void, filled with guilt and longing. He watched himself, older now, sitting alone on the porch, staring into the darkness, wishing he could undo the hurt. He did not turn away from these memories. Instead, he allowed them to unfold, acknowledging their weight. The river, silent and gentle, seemed to understand. It carried both pain and joy with tenderness, whispering that both were part of his journey. The water shimmered with the faint glow of regret, but also with the promise of understanding, a reminder that even the deepest wounds could heal with time. Bram's heart ached, but within that ache was a quiet hope, a flicker of acceptance that perhaps through this surreal voyage he could find the peace he sought. Chapter 3: The Glow of Regret. The air around Bram grew thick with quiet anticipation as he drifted along the glowing river. The shimmering water reflected faint, flickering memories, scenes buried deep within his heart. The gentle ripple of the current seemed to carry unspoken words and unresolved feelings, whispering of things left unsaid. Ahead, on the riverbank, a figure emerged, tall, still, wrapped in a simple dark coat that caught the soft glow of the water. Bram's breath caught. He recognized the figure instantly, though time had silvered his brother Sam's hair and softened his features. Sam stood there, serene, radiating a calm Bram hadn't felt in years. Without a word, Sam raised a hand in greeting, a gesture that needed no speech or explanation. Bram's heart pounded with relief and trepidation. As he looked at his brother, all the unspoken words they'd carried for decades pressed against his chest. The silence between them was profound, filled with the weight of shared history, moments of love, conflict, regret, and longing. Bram felt the ache of years apart, yet in Sam's steady presence, he sensed understanding. It was as if the river itself whispered truths words could never fully capture. In that quiet moment, tears welled in Bram's eyes. But he held them back, knowing that here, in this luminous space, words were unnecessary. Their silent exchange conveyed everything: the forgiveness long denied, the acknowledgement of pain, and the unbreakable bond that endured. The glow of the water seemed to embrace them, illuminating this unspoken reconciliation. Bram's gaze drifted along the shimmering water, and suddenly the scene shifted. The gentle glow revealed a memory he had long tried to forget: the last fight with Sam. It was a day etched into his mind, when words had cut sharper than any blade. He saw himself standing in the doorway of their old family home, voice raised in anger, words spilling out in a rush. Sam's face, usually so calm, was flushed with frustration, his eyes shimmering with hurt. The memory played in slow motion: harsh words, a slammed door, the silence that followed. His heart clenched as he watched himself, bitterness and regret swirling together. He remembered the fear that gripped him when he realized Sam wouldn't come back that night. The emptiness that settled afterward, growing heavier with each passing year. The ache of knowing that angry words had created a chasm between them, one seemingly impossible to bridge. Tears welled in Bram's eyes as he saw the pain reflected in his younger self's face. Every bitter word, every harsh tone felt like a stone thrown into still water, rippling outward and shaping the years that followed. He recalled nights awake, haunted by that fight, wishing he could undo what was said. Yet amid the pain, a fragile flicker of love remained, a tiny ember buried beneath layers of regret. The river's gentle current carried these visions without judgment, simply bearing witness to their fractured bond. Bram felt the weight of those moments, but also a strange comfort. In witnessing his pain, he understood that love and regret had always been intertwined. The river did not ask him to forget. It asked him to see, to accept what was lost, and to find a way to forgive himself. As the water shimmered around him, Bram realized confronting these memories was a vital step toward healing. His gaze lingered on the figure by the riverbank, and suddenly he was transported back to that last, terrible fight with Sam. It was an afternoon in late autumn, the air thick with fallen leaves and the chill of approaching winter. They had argued fiercely, their voices rising over the quiet woods near their childhood home. Words like stubborn, blame, and regret echoed sharply in his mind. He remembered how Sam's face twisted with pain, how his eyes flashed with anger and sorrow before slamming the door and vanishing from his life. Bram saw it all again. His harsh words, how he had pushed Sam away, not realizing how much he would regret that moment. His heart clenched as he watched the scene unfold in the shimmering water, the memory playing like a ghostly film. He recalled the fear that gripped him when he realized Sam wouldn't return, how the emptiness grew in the years that followed. The silence after Sam's departure was deafening, filling his days with ache and longing. Tears blurred his vision as he watched the past unfold, yet amid the pain, a flicker of love persisted. The river's gentle glow softened the sharp edges of those memories, inviting him to see them not just as wounds but as parts of a story still holding meaning. The water carried these painful moments without judgment, just as it carried joy, sorrow, and hope. Bram felt the weight of his regret, but also a faint whisper of understanding. This confrontation, this silent exchange with his older, serene brother on the bank, was what he had longed for all these years. It was a quiet acknowledgement that even in silence, some wounds could begin to heal. Chapter 4. At the River Bend. Bram's boat drifted further along the glowing river, and suddenly the shimmering surface rippled with images from his past. The water's gentle luminescence revealed scenes that seemed to rise from the depths of his memory, each more tender and vivid than the last. He saw his mother, her hands busy yet calm, folding laundry in the warm afternoon light. Her voice echoed softly in his mind. "Bram, dear, come help me with this," as she gently brushed his hair away from his forehead. He could almost feel her warmth, the faint scent of soap and fresh linen lingering in the air, wrapping him in quiet comfort. Next, the sound of his father's laughter filled the space like a rich, mischievous melody. "Did you see that, Bram?" his father would say, eyes twinkling as they played hide-and-seek in the yard. His hearty laughter echoed through the memory, wrapping Bram in a sense of safety and joy. He remembered racing homemade boats with Sam, their small hands pushing tiny vessels into the creek, shouting, "Wait up, Sam!" as they laughed and splashed each other. Those carefree days, filled with simple happiness, flickered along the riverbank like fireflies. As Bram watched, he saw himself as a young boy racing against Sam with a handmade wooden boat, their laughter blending with the gentle flow of the water. The innocence of those moments struck him deeply, so vivid, yet so distant now. He could hear himself calling out, "Wait up, Sam!" A bittersweet ache swelling in his chest. A warm, familiar longing for those days of innocence washed over him, mingling with profound gratitude for having known such love. Every scene shimmered with nostalgia, reminding him that though those moments had faded, they had shaped the man he was today. The glowing water shimmered and shifted, revealing fragments of his past that seemed to dance just beneath the surface. The memories unfolded like a delicate tapestry, each thread woven with love, loss, and quiet acceptance. He saw his mother again, her gentle hands folding laundry on a sunny afternoon. Her voice, soft and soothing, echoed in his mind. "Bram, dear, come help me with this." He could almost feel her warmth, her scent of lavender and fresh linen filling the air, as if she were right beside him. Then came his father's laughter, ringing clear and bright. "Did you see that, Bram?" His father's mischievous grin appeared in the shimmering water, his eyes sparkling with joy as they played games in the yard. The sound of his hearty laughter wrapped around Bram like a warm blanket, comforting and familiar. It was a reminder of simpler days. Days when life was straightforward and filled with innocence. He saw himself as a boy, racing homemade boats with Sam, their shouts of excitement echoing across the water. "Wait up, Sam," he'd call, racing after his brother's boat as it darted ahead. The image was fleeting, yet vivid, laughter blending with the gentle lapping of the river. In that moment, Bram felt a familiar ache, a longing for those carefree childhood days. But beneath that ache was a deep gratitude for having shared such love, for those precious moments with his brother. As these scenes played before him, Bram felt a quiet warmth settle over him. The memories, though tinged with sorrow, shimmered with the love that had always been there. Time has a way of softening the hardest edges, he whispered softly, almost to himself. He realized these memories were not just echoes of loss. They were treasures, reminders of a life rich with connection. The current carried him gently onward. With each passing moment, the weight of regret began to lift. Bram understood that life's river flowed forward, unceasing and unstoppable. "We all must flow with the river, mustn't we?" He mused aloud, feeling the truth settle in his heart. The past was part of him, but it did not define him. Instead, it had shaped him, softened him, and opened his heart to acceptance. He saw that even shadows of regret could be embraced as part of the whole. Love, pain, and joy intertwined, creating a more complete picture of his life. Bram's eyes drifted over the widening riverbanks, and he felt a gentle opening within himself. The current guided him toward understanding that the memories of Sam, the laughter, the fights, and the quiet moments of love were always with him. In that realization, he found a quiet peace and reassurance that he could carry forward, lighter and freer than before. His gaze softened as he watched the shimmering water ripple with memories. The glow of the river deepened, wrapping him in a gentle warmth that seeped into his bones. He saw his mother, her hands delicate yet strong, folding laundry on a sunlit afternoon. Her voice echoed softly, "Bram, dear, come help me with this." He could almost feel her hands brushing against his, the scent of freshly washed clothes filling the air, sweet, comforting. That warmth, that quiet love, lingered like a whisper in his heart. The scene shifted. His father's laughter rang out, bright and full of mischief. "Did you see that, Bram?" his father would say, eyes twinkling as they played in the yard. The memory of those carefree afternoons wrapped around him like a favorite blanket. The sound of his father's joyous laughter echoing in his ears. It was a reminder of simpler times, days filled with love and laughter, now tinged with longing. Bram's eyes drifted to a younger version of himself racing homemade boats with Sam. He could hear his younger voice, breathless with excitement, shouting, "Wait up, Sam!" Their laughter mingled with the gentle lapping of the water, pure and unburdened. For a moment he was transported back to those days, innocent, free, and hopeful. The ache in his chest softened, replaced by deep gratitude for having known such love, even if it now flickered faintly in his memory. As the boat drifted further along the glowing river, Bram felt a profound sense of acceptance. These memories, bittersweet and luminous, reminded him that love and loss are intertwined. Time has a way of softening the hardest edges, he whispered, feeling it in his bones. The river carried both light and shadow of his past, and he realized that embracing them was part of healing. The pain was real, but so was the warmth, embedded in every smile, every gentle touch, every shared moment. He understood that the past was a tapestry woven with love and sorrow, each thread necessary to complete the picture. "We all must flow with the river, mustn't we?" he murmured, contemplating life's impermanence. The steady, unyielding current seemed to carry away his regrets, dissolving them into the shimmering glow. In that quiet moment, Bram felt the burdens lift, replaced by peace and a quiet acknowledgement that love endures beyond pain and loss. The final chapter, Still Waters. The first light of dawn stretched softly across the sky, bathing the valley in a gentle, golden glow. Bram sat quietly in the boat, watching as the shimmering water around him began to recede. The river's full flow seemed to withdraw like a delicate breath, exhaled into the morning air. Ripples danced across the surface, reflecting faint glimmers of light, reminding him of his brother Sam's warm smile, calm, inviting, filled with unspoken love. He took a deep, steadying breath, feeling the weight of the night's revelations settle into his chest. The journey through memories, moments of joy and regret, had brought him to this place of quiet understanding. The river, which had carried him through scenes of laughter, arguments, and silent forgiveness, now gently withdrew, leaving behind only the soft glow of its fading shimmer. It was as if the water itself was saying goodbye, offering closure without haste or noise. His gaze lingered on the water's edge, where the last ripples shimmered and then slowly vanished. He thought of all the moments shared with Sam, how they had once been inseparable, then torn apart by misunderstandings and distance. Now, as the river receded, he felt tender gratitude for their journey together, even if it was through memories and dreams. The river's slow retreat was a silent reminder that some chapters must close gently and with grace, so new beginnings can quietly take their place. In the quiet hush before dawn, Bram's eyes fixed on a familiar figure on the riverbank. It was Sam, taller than Bram remembered, with a calm, knowing smile that seemed to hold their entire shared history. The early morning light cast a gentle radiance around him, as if the sun itself leaned in to listen. Bram's voice was barely a whisper, trembling with emotion. "You always did know how to find me." He knew Sam couldn't hear him across the divide of life and death, but it felt right to speak, to acknowledge the bond that had never truly broken, even in silence. Sam's figure simply smiled, a quiet reassurance that love and forgiveness transcend time. His eyes radiated warmth, reaching into Bram's soul and soothing the ache of regret and longing that had lingered for years. In that silent exchange, Bram felt a profound peace settle over him, an understanding that this moment was not just a farewell, but a recognition of their enduring connection. As the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, Bram took a slow, steady breath. The weight of the night's revelations, the memories, regrets, and forgiveness had finally found their place within him. The receding river carried away the last remnants of sorrow, leaving only love and acceptance. In that quiet dawn, Bram knew he was ready to move forward, carrying his brother's spirit in his heart forever. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your time with us tonight. If you'd like to help support the podcast and ensure we can continue bringing you more great content, it would mean the world to us if you could share this show with a friend or someone who might appreciate it. Word of mouth is one of the best ways to help our community grow. Additionally, if you have a moment, please consider leaving an honest rating or review for the show wherever you listen. Your feedback not only helps us improve, but also makes it easier for new listeners to discover what we're creating together. Thank you again for being part of our journey. Until we meet again on the next episode, wishing you a restful night and the sweetest of dreams.